Hi guys, so today we're going to be going over active and passive voice. We're actually going to be doing it a little bit differently. So you guys will be watching this video at home, and then tomorrow we are going to be coming in and you guys will be looking at text that we have already read thus far into the semester and seeing where the author uses active and passive voice and kind of how it helps the writing. And then next week we will start incorporating active and passive voice into our own writing, so that way we can kind of improve on our own writing skills, and you'll see the difference that it makes when we kind of get a little bit more into this PowerPoint and then once we actually apply it. So let's start off by talking about exactly what active and passive voice are. So, active voice. These are sentences that pack more of a punch. They're going to be using strong verbs, and we kind of went over what strong verbs were last week, so you guys should be very aware how to use strong verbs and why they are important to your writing. So, these sentences, active sentences, follow a subject, verb, direct object, or indirect object format. That's typically how you can know that it's an active sentence being used and not passive. So passive sentences, on the other hand, these are sentences that have the subject after the verb. I think it was very important to note that passive sentences use helping verbs. I kind of put this down here at the bottom. So we already know what the helping verbs are. We've been over them. It's is, was, were, those past tense verbs that we use. I also included here passive voice is not a bad thing. So one of the examples that we're going to use is about a car crash. Now, if you crash the car but you know you don't want to tell your parents, you could use passive voice. We'll kind of go more into that with the example, but I just wanted to make it clear that passive voice is not bad at all, and you should definitely, use it in your writing. Just note the differences in what you're trying to convey in your writing. So the next thing that we're going to look at is some examples. So this kind of goes back to what I said about the car crash. So for active voice, I hit my neighbor's car. You're taking ownership of that sentence, and it follows the exact format that we talked about earlier. So it has the subject here, the verb, and then the direct object. So we know that that is active voice because it follows the format that we were given, and also it's using a strong verb, hit. You're taking ownership of what you have done. So passive voice, as you can see here, there's a helping verb, which was hit, and then the subject. As you can see here, also in passive voice, you're not directly stating who hit the car. So let's say this did happen in real life and you're trying to dodge your parents, you could say the car was hit. So you don't know that, or your parents don't know that you hit the car, but they do know that the car was hit. And then one of the really big tips that I think that you guys are going to be able to utilize a lot is called the by zombies test. So in this per se, you ask yourself the question, if you add by zombies to the end of the sentence, does it still make sense? So we're going to go back to those examples in a minute, but what you need to know first is that if you add by zombies to the end of a sentence and it makes sense, it's passive voice. But if you add by zombies to the end of an active sentence and it doesn't make sense, then that is active voice. So we're going to go to the next screen and we're going to see these examples that we had previously and see how you can apply the by zombies test. So the first sentence, like we said, I hit my neighbor's car. Now if we add by zombies, I hit my neighbor's car by zombies. That doesn't make any sense to us. So we know that that is using active voice. Now, if we say the car was hit during an accident by zombies, it reads a lot easier and it makes sense. We know the car was hit by zombies, so it's putting the blame on someone at that point, which means that it is passive voice. So you guys can flip back through this PowerPoint as much as you want and watch this recording. And then we're going to come in tomorrow, like I said earlier, and we're going to look at all the texts that we have been reading thus far and see if we can find some different examples of passive and of active voice and how and why the author used that in that point in moment. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all tomorrow.